Hello, welcome. How have you been? If you are tapped in now, you are super early on this journey. And before we begin, I want to share something. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a guru, I'm a transmitter, decoder, master student of life, God. And this is one of many ways in which I ceremonize my life experience so you can find your own answers through witnessing me without it being about me, because it's not about me, it's about what moves through me. And if you let the things that I say in, you let your guard down, you listen, it will not just change the way you think, but it will also recalibrate the way you relate to life. So welcome to this fourth part of the series that I've called Remembrance, because in life we need way more reminders than new information. Let's get into it. My suggestion is to read between the lines if you watch this series. Watch as much as needed, because this series comes with one promise, and that is that it will be the only thing you need to completely change your life around. But I cannot make the change. You must integrate. So if you have watched the episode before this and you have integrated that one, you are now at a point that you can make choices very easily. So from that space, it's time to figure out what are the things that we are devoted to and if we need any readjustments. Readjustments. So from that space, it's time to figure out what we are actually devoted to and if we need any readjustments. And I'm here with you, devoted to jump back into the darkness where I came from, as much as needed to get everyone out. And we together will reach a point of light that is so blinding that you will be begging for a little bit of darkness just to get an edge to life. With that being said, I appreciate you being here in this space with me, where I become more of me so you can become more of you. Because our lives reflect what we are devoted to, if we choose it or not. So this episode will help you to choose with intention. Because life bends to your devotion, not to your desires. And in this episode, we will uncover everything when it comes to the force that shapes your whole life. And we will reveal how you can reclaim your life direction by reclaiming your devotion. Because devotion isn't inherently positive. It is where your time, energy, and choices are consistently placed. It is a force that shapes your whole life, whether you're conscious of it or not. Because we are always devoted to something. To our friends, our partners, our jobs, bad habits, or to growth, building something. It is the persistent dedication and deep commitment to someone or something. So first of all, let's dig a little bit deeper in the biggest misconceptions about loyalty and devotion when it comes to relating to others or connections or relationships. Because people often confuse devotion with attachment and loyalty with endurance. But loyalty and devotion without honesty is fear. It's trauma bonding. That's what they do in the ghetto. What are we? Gangsters? No. I don't think so. Ik ga stuk. What are we now? Gangsters? No. That's scavenger behavior. You cannot be loyal to the truth and a lie at once. You cannot be devoted to a dusty and a king or a queen at the same time. It's either or. People often think that devotion means staying no matter what. But true devotion isn't about just staying with someone or something. It is about staying true to something higher, your actual values, your truth, your soul, your heart. And loyalty is not about how long you stay, it is about why you stay. Now let's bring this Buga to life. kitty. As per usual, let's first go for a little trip into my inner space. Because when it comes to me, I've always been a very passionate and devoted person. My soul needs a lot of stimulation. I love creation. I love growth. I love learning. I love cooking. I love beauty. I love creating. The list doesn't end. But for a long time, that passion and devotion was misdirected because I lacked the container and the structure for it. I feel like this combination of having all this passion and wanting to devote myself to something with the lack of structure and a container also contributed to the fact that I went to explore in other ways with using substances, getting wasted basically, trying everything. At a certain point, I feel that the overuse of substances led me to a place where the mundane almost became unbearable because I've peaked so much that everything after that became kind of flat and boring. And then I don't only mean peaked with events and happenings and experiences within my life, because I feel like I've experienced most things, but also chemically in my brain. But it's really an art to create magic within the mundane. That is where we win. And I had to rebuild my relationship with life and how to live it in a healthy and mature way. And people rarely understood my energy. So often it felt more convenient to tone it down, to minimize it, to just keep it to myself. But now I'm like, hell yeah, I'm passionate. Hell yeah, I'm devoted to life, to God, to creation, to my highest potential. And if there's someone who knows the depths of the absolute darkest darkness, it's me. And for a long time I couldn't see it anymore. But I can't help to see how magical this world is. How beautiful. If you have eyes, how can you not see the beauty of this world? It's magical, it's truly amazing. Animals, people, children, human processes, creation and evolution. I see beauty everywhere. And it's only because of those who are devoted to the sacred and keep it alive. How can you not want to be part of that? What else is there to do? Seeing this precious life as some sort of cosmic joke, hoping it will be over soon? I've been in that place and I can tell you this, I don't fear that. For most of my life I've been looking forward to it. What I do fear is not being fully alive. That feeling of the wheel is still spinning but the hamster is dead. Oh. Rotating in a frequency of unfulfillment and unhappiness and mediocrity. That is not how you want to leave this realm, trust me. I don't joke around. I'm getting ready to die. Talking about misdirection of my passion and devotion, it's not too long ago that I've built a business that was completely misaligned with who I am in essence. And I've paid the price because misaligned devotion is what will rob you from every inch of life force. I must say that I also fell for desire marketing. It speaks to lack, to your pain, suffering, and your deep wish to be free. But it's very tricky because they sell your devotion to money as the one and only solution, as the one and only solution for all your problems. So for almost 4 years, I completely burned myself out, working over 80 hours a week, and in 2024 I managed to scale my business to multiple 6 figures. I did consistent days of 6,000 to 15,000 euro days. It is a whole story, but where I come from and what I had to do to get there, it's a lot, but that's for another story. What's important for now is that it cost me 4 years and every inch of my soul to then lose it all. which I now don't see as a loss at all, because it was the wake-up call that my soul needed. It is actually a very crazy story, as I have many of those, but to give you a little bit more, in the end, I was left with nothing. Can you imagine? Well, I didn't even spend crazy things on myself. I didn't upgrade my lifestyle. Everything I did was with other people in the back of my mind. I felt responsible for the people that worked for me. I've invested in the wrong people, the wrong mentors, like crazy amounts of money. Taxes came, got stolen from a couple of times, did misaligned investments. But I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to speed up the process. I saw it as my way out, while completely working myself to the ground. After that situation, for quite some time, I was scared to move because my system had worked over hours and was completely burned out, to then feel this massive sense of failure. It felt as if all that energy went into nothing. And I felt stuck until I figured that it wasn't failure at all. It was misalignment with who I truly am, because I decided to walk away from it. Because it didn't feel in line with my soul, with my heart. And that is what I wanted for myself. And it was not easy at all. I had to change absolutely everything. I had to do a lot of healing within my feminine energy. More surrendering, less harshness, deeper listening. Reflecting on the situation and asking myself, why did I make certain decisions? But also realizing that I now am in the position to choose differently, to build something from the soul, instead of lack, fear, and misplaced devotion. Because if I had the power to be so devoted to something that was so misaligned and forced, what would happen if I redirect that power into devotion to something that is infused with the soul? To be devoted to something so infused with the spirit of my heart that it brings me so deep into my own being that I cannot help but creating and doing. That power is still there. It was just misdirected. You can never rush what is already yours. Haastige spoed is zelden goed. But we are always devoted. It's either to a life full of lies, a life that doesn't really make you happy or fulfilled, or a life that does. It's just that we have to choose between them. I know that everything in my life is a reflection of my decisions, of my devotion. I'm devoted to becoming more of me. That means taking full responsibility for everything that happens in my life. That means doing the work until the work doesn't feel like work anymore. That means cleaning out absolutely everything that isn't in alignment with my values. And guess what? Ever since, nothing in my life feels like work anymore. Everything that happened to me, everyone and everything that was removed along the way was to protect and redirect my energy, to prevent misplaced devotion. Places where I unconsciously was pouring in my care, my love, my loyalty into a field that couldn't fully receive or return it. Because when you do everything to help, especially when you are already going through things and you are still getting lied to, or you do everything with others in the back of your mind to still be called selfish, something isn't adding up. Some people I will still help when it comes to serious situations, but from a distance, because I'm now at a point that most of them cannot be a part of my life because of our huge differences in values. Real growth is when the heart stays open but the hands let go. And I've managed to do that. We all have free will, but if you choose comfort over evolution and you cannot stand beside me in truth, you will not stand beside me in peace, growth and success. I don't do one-sided loyalty and devotions anymore. I'm not available to carry relationships on my own, like at all. Nope. No. Absolutely the fuck not. Like I no longer have the space or time to explain to those who don't want to hear it that the truth will never leave you empty. It is what sets you free. And if it empties anything at all, it is the illusions which you want to get rid of anyway. But I won't be the one to force that up on anyone. We all have free will. So now I've came to the end of my story. The two biggest lessons were, first of all, that redirection is protection. It is your higher self looking out for you, but it needs you to listen. Second lesson is that harsh discipline is not for me, and probably not for most women. You have to find a relationship with your devotion. You have to be so in tune with your essence and your soul that all the doing becomes a natural byproduct of you being fully in your being. Then two things that saved me. First is merging the masculine with the feminine. I had a lot of healing to do within my feminine energy. That is why I've created the 5 gates, a guide to full liberation and recalibration of your emotional landscape to get clear on your being. If you are interested in that, link is in the description. Second thing that saved me is knowing exactly who I am and what I came to do here on earth before I'm ready to move on. And from that, a clear devotion is born. And a clear devotion doesn't mean it's always linear. But life becomes way easier. Everything becomes easier if you know what you are living for. It is the seed of flow. So if you are already creating and you are an entrepreneur and you want to bring everything within your life and your business into alignment, I've created a synthesis. It is a deep one-on-one container, a soul map initiation, and life and business will never be the same after that. So if you are interested in that, link in the description. Let's move on. I hadn't eaten in a while. I feel way better. So let's move on. Let's go into the costs of being devoted to the wrong things. Because people often build their identity around rebellion. No rules, no structure, no systems. But freedom must not be confused with chaos. And I know because I was one of those people. I had to learn the hard way that freedom without structure is not the freedom that you actually want. Because freedom without a clear container becomes emptiness. We should not hide our fear of structure behind intuition. Intuition is just subtle, non-linear intelligence. And just like any form of intelligence, it thrives best in the right container. Intuition without structure becomes noise. And structure without intuition becomes rigid. But when intuition flows inside a clear container, it becomes powerful. Clear, directed, embodied, creative. Discipline is not about restriction. It is about remembering who you really are. To make sure that the art of living in the space between being and becoming is one lived in quality. When you understand your energetic blueprint and your direction, devotion becomes sacred. It's not something you have to force, it's something you are. Every soul has its unique rhythm, its unique soul codes, and its unique purpose. But if you don't know those things about yourself, of course discipline feels suffocating, as if you constantly have to force it up on yourself. It is extremely exhausting to force yourself to do things that you are not even clear on. On top of that, you have all these gurus screaming at you that you are a lazy piece of shit, resulting into people applying their structure and patterns to their own unique being and nervous system. This is why so many people fail at consistency, fail to bring their dreams in reality. They have never decoded the inner architecture. And that is what creates the much needed clarity. That is what makes consistency feel like devotion. To something bigger, to something that transcends all stagnation, all doubts, all fears, all that you are not. If you find yourself in any area of your life feeling exhausted, trying to make it work, more than often, what you need is more refinement, not more force. More than often, it means that you are building from the wrong place. If you have tried it all and nothing sticks, it's probably not designed for you. If it was about searching another strategy, it would have worked by now. It is about remembering who you are and creating from that. It is about finding your soul-aligned devotion and base all your decisions on that. Today. Because divine timing doesn't mean waiting around until the right day comes knocking on your door. It means to be prepared and to be ready when the moment comes. See, a lot of people have done the work, plant medicine, took the courses, did the retreats, but still the transformation doesn't take form. Why? Because they haven't integrated it through their unique system of being. Unintegrated knowledge becomes emotional overload. Emotion is energy in motion. But now it has become unorganized, unstructured. There's no clear devotion. So now I have no motion. Living out of alignment will always lead to a stagnant reality, where your outer world doesn't reflect your inner knowing. Business feels confusing, relationships are draining you, and any other possibility will stay invisible. You must learn how to sync the soul with the psyche and strategy so you can actually start building the life you want and not only dream about it. It is refinement before blind action. That is why you must know who you are. So you become so infused with your clarity, your essence, your way of being, that everything that flows out of you becomes consistently, effortlessly pointed towards the right things. It's what gets everything moving. Sacred discipline will then become a natural byproduct of who you are and what you are building. And that is what I call soul-aligned devotion. It is what removes all the fighting and forcing against yourself. It is what makes you able to carry a higher vision that is insensitive to your mood swings, that is insensitive to your doubts, especially for women. We have monthly cycles and men have 24-hour cycles. Your life has to breathe your energetic signature. Everything is hard until it doesn't. What if discipline won't feel like hard work forever? What if it's your door to full alignment? What if it's not about what it takes, but about what it gives you access to? Sometimes you gotta flip the script. Stop counting the effort. What if you started counting the possibilities that will open up to you because of the effort? That is devotion. Vision-led action, not pain-led effort. Devotion and structure doesn't cost you your freedom. It's what funds it. And be very aware, because not all resistance is laziness. Sometimes it's your soul trying to protect you from spending energy on goals that you don't even really care about. Or it's trying to protect you from your own history of proving that you won't stay consistent anyway. In that case, you are trying to preserve energy. And you need to reflect and do some readjustments to turn that around. Clarity and refinement is almost always the answer. Laziness is data, Explore, what is this trying to tell me? What does this mean? You are either tired of acting that you care about something that you don't really care about, still saying yes to the wrong things, or you screwed up your whole nervous system by consistently breaking the promises that you have made to yourself. If the work constantly drains you, it's not discipline, it's distortion and misalignment. Discipline and devotion isn't something to fight against. It is the love language of your higher self, asking you to step up and to bring your higher wisdom and your higher visions into the 3D reality. Asking if you are finally ready to create what you have been dreaming of all along. Real devotion energizes. It enhances your life force. And people and things that are not actually for you will always drain it. So what is the fastest way to know if you are devoted to the right things? Because like I said before, we are always devoted to something, consciously or unconsciously. Scan every area of your life, your work, your friendships, your relationship, your habits, and ask yourself, does this deepen my life force? Does this give me more energy, or does it deplete it? Can I fully be myself here? Or do I constantly need to prove something? Do I have to minimize my truth? Do I have to make myself smaller to feel safe, seen, loved, heard? Probably didn't pronounce that very well. Yeah, heard. Like many other things. Do I feel like I constantly have to chase something? That I constantly have to strategize, overthink? Do I feel safe to rest? When it comes to our partners, we must feel safe enough to let our armors down, to surrender, to cry, to be you in the fullest expression of who you are, without ever having to doubt if that is enough. Because it is. That is what sacred devotion is. It expands you. Zip it. Be still. Scan. Be honest. The next area of our lives that we need to scan is, am I addicted to anything? There's a lot that we don't want to admit to ourselves. Addiction is when your natural impulse to commit, to pour your life force into something meaningful, gets redirected to something that completely drains you. Addiction is when the power of devotion gets hijacked. It is you consistently showing up for something. Every hour, every day, every weekend. It is the same intensity, the same energy, the same commitment. Just pointed towards the wrong direction. Devotion becomes distorted if we pour ourselves into something that doesn't give anything back. It's just like drugs. First it gives, then it takes. And because we once felt alive through it, we keep going back. Chasing a high that isn't the same high anymore. And that loop, that pattern needs to be interrupted, because it sure isn't going to stop out of itself, because it is an entity that you have been feeding with your lack of self-control. So now it has hijacked your devotion, because you gave it life and it's programmed to stay alive, just like anything else. Apart from that, not all addiction looks like total chaos, right? Because a lot of people are shocked, like, I'm addicted, I'm not addicted. It's deep. Sometimes addiction is to people, relationships, bad habits, even old versions of yourself that keep you stagnant and stuck in the same place. It's corn. It's a forbidden word. It's patterns, people, relationships, old versions of yourself that keep you stuck and stagnant. Sugar, your phone, corn. It is everything that moves you away from having to deal with the self. It is the same energy that could fuel deep union, creation, purpose, that gets hooked in a loop. Energetically, it's devotion separated from divinity and source. It's like serving a misaligned altar, where you are worshipping a feeling, a fantasy, or old wounds instead of the truth of your soul. You need to redirect that energy. If you give it to one thing, it will always take from the other. People don't know it's hijacked devotion. And for some people, they feel like being devoted to addiction is unproblematic. But remember this: the road to hell feels like heaven, and the road to heaven feels like hell. Choose wisely. Choose the difficult and the hard. Break through resistance, and life will get easier. If you choose for the easiest route, life will become more difficult. Know thyself. Be very conscious around the things you devote yourself to. Not what we say, because what we are actually devoted to will show up in our lives somewhere. Either in deep fulfillment or deep unfulfillment, unhappiness and shame. There's no hiding, especially not from yourself. I needed a break. Let's move on. So let's move on to our devotion when it comes to our jobs, career, or our own path. If you are at this moment devoted to a job that you hate, or you are on a path that feels unfulfilling, or you are struggling with getting your business off the ground, I only want to say this: the whole money game within this world is fugazi. You really have to break loose from that, because there are so many people that are devoted to money, and it shows. It's ugly, it's distorted. I've been in the game deeply, and I've been around a lot of people. I've scaled my own business to multiple six figures. I thought that was all I ever wanted, that it would solve all my problems. But I've never been so unhappy in my life and unfulfilled. Now, does this mean that we are going to demonize money? No. Absolutely the fuck not. Natuurlijk niet. It means that we are going to get so much of it that we don't even know what to do with it other than optimizing the quality of our lives and blessing and helping those in need. Because it's also selfish to have none of it, to stay in your own little bubble of barely getting by when all opportunities are available to us. Believing it's not for you, while there are people driving around in Lamborghinis, screwing anything and everything they come across without any decency, morals or respect, even for their own people and their own family. It's not about the money, it's about the idiot behind it. I've been around enough of them. You don't need morals, or you don't have to be a good person to have money. You don't. I want people to know that, so they stop thinking that it's not for them. I want money back in the hands of people that move from good intentions instead of greed, that are actually doing good for the world. That's why we must never demonize money, but see it as a natural energy exchange. See it as a natural byproduct, a reward for being in deep soul-aligned devotion. It's just that we have to approach it differently, because those exact people will soon come to realize, a lot of them already do, that they have been chasing emptiness their whole lives. Nobody really respects them. And most of them have the reputation of a Cuban mosquito. I don't know why I came up with that, but I never irritated myself more than on the mosquitoes in Cuba. They were the worst. And everything is, and within this ecosystem, everything is functional, but I never understood why something so wordless even exists. I think they are food for spiders or something. Anyways, it will never ever feel good to me to just take from the world. How can you use that to fill the gap of your own insecurities? It's like filling a hole with smoke. Bored rich people are the worst. That's why there are so many people that have wealth that are extremely narcissistic and evil. They will fuck over everyone to fill their own emptiness. It's almost satanic, almost. They can't generate life force from within, so they have to suck it out of everyone and everything around them. They are deeply devoted to their shadow side and false ego. But no matter what you think of it, it's the power of devotion where they created their wealth with. The power itself is neutral. It works. And they have chosen that path. But there are many roads. You don't need morals and you don't need to be a good person to have money. But you need to be a good person to have peace, true love and deep fulfillment. That's the frequency you will live in the now, but also the frequency that you will take with you after this short roller coaster ride. And that is something that you can never buy with money. So choose wisely. That is why I came up with multidimensional wealth. It's from the heart space. Spreading light all around you, getting paid to exist. And yeah, often that's the longer route. But nothing tastes better than wealth that is created from the soul. And I guess it depends on your values, but to me, nothing is more important than the memories and the feelings you leave people with. Alive and death. No one at a funeral will ever say the devil has one of his soldiers back. But bet a lot of people are thinking that. Because the person saw the world and other people as a cash grab and made everything about them. Because the only thing they were devoted to was their own hunger for power and validation, instead of using their devotion to make this world a better place. And I will never respect that. So let's move into the shift. Disconnection from the self will always create an inability to make the right decisions, to devote yourself to the right things, resulting in a misaligned life, energy leakage, emotional confusion, unfulfillment, endlessly trying to fill holes, and blocked manifestations when it comes to the things that you actually want and deeply desire. You make a shift when you remember who you are. By decoding your original blueprint and reclaiming your energetic structure and create from that. Master all areas of your life. If you feel stuck, unmotivated, unhappy, unfulfilled, it is a very clear sign. It means that you are out of alignment. Procrastination is a symptom. More than often, you are not lazy or unmotivated. You are just not in a relationship with your mission yet. We are all born with unique soul codes, with a unique path to unlock. But if you don't know and trust yourself, and you are not clear on what you want to create or build, it is impossible to find soul-aligned devotion and to redirect your energy to the right things. You can't be in a healthy relationship with something or someone that you don't know and trust. You can't force yourself into taking consistent action when you have no clarity. Because why would you put fuel into a car when you are not driving it? The soul needs to be in alignment with your identity, your vision, your mission, and your direction. So you can build a business or become part of an organization that you actually care about, that reflects your deepest truth and generates fulfillment that feels like home. Getting those things in line will unlock all other things beyond your wildest imagination. We are being conditioned to be devoted to mediocrity, to be happy with the bare minimum, to love our body at every size, to accept your life even if you don't feel completely happy within it, to be thankful for breadcrumbs while the big guys are running away with the world under their arms. There's nothing chic about being a scavenger. There's nothing cute about living from scraps, solely living in a world created by others, thought forms that aren't even our own, systems that are not in our best interest. We gotta take our power back in every area. People have to stop with the excuses. No time, make time. Check your screen time. There are thousands and thousands of examples of people that also made it work. Being overweight is almost never because of your sugar or your thyroid. It is because of a lack of self-control. It is your consistent devotion to stuffing your face with more than you need. It's gluttony. Did I say that right? Gluttony. It's gluttony. It is being devoted to consistently taking more than you need. And I say this with love because there were times that I had to say it to myself exactly how it was. And there was a reason behind it, but I figured it out only by being reflective and honest with myself. And it is not about being overweight. It is about the lack of self-control that spreads itself throughout every area of your life. It spreads itself like an oil spot throughout your whole existence. That is the problem. So often, when you manage to break one pattern in any area where you lack self-control, other areas will follow. That is the power of devotion. We have to stop negotiating with ourselves. If you're still negotiating with yourself if you should eat healthy or you should stuff your face multiple times a day with a feast as if you are going into full hibernation, if you still have space to negotiate with yourself and to consistently break the promises that you have made to yourself, we have work to do, Chula. And this is also for the man, because a man that has no self-control is not a man to ever trust, especially not with your body and your soul. If we want change, we have to make the change. The change isn't going to make itself. I'm devoted to what am I devoted to in my life? Am I devoted to a partner that doesn't respect me? Am I devoted to addictions, bad habits, a job that doesn't pay me well? Zip it, be still, scan, be honest. Remember, everything around you can change except the one that has the desire to change, and that is you. You are the observant of your own life. So what are we looking at? Are we devoted to distortion? To half-ass relationships? Friendships? Unfulfilling jobs? Addictions, as long as you are devoted to half-assed things, don't expect quality of life, ever. Your devotion can only be directed once. What do you want? What do you really want? Your desires are the doors to your higher calling. That's why they call for your devotion. Zip it, be still, scan, be honest. So now we got the tough love out of the way. Do you want a hug? I do my arms like this, then you hug yourself, then you can use a little bit of my energy. So what happens if you let go? This is where you rebuild your life from the soul instead of from old wounds. This isn't about being perfect, it is about choosing again and again and again who you want to be. No matter what, no matter when, no matter how. With the result that your life gets rebuilt on your deepest values, on your deepest truth, and on everything that makes your heartbeat go up. And the more you align with your real design, the less discipline feels like discipline. The less life feels like having to force everything. The more it becomes sacred devotion. Not to outsourced validation. Not to the bare minimum and not to a half-ass life. But to what's real. To the collective, to source, and to the soul. And you start to see how few people actually walk that path. Which is a shame. But the good thing about it is that it will strengthen your belief. Not only your belief, but your deep knowing that you are worthy of it all. You are worthy of everything you ask for, because you have proven to yourself that you live in full integrity with the soul. It doesn't come from ego. You cannot manipulate it with words. It comes from full embodiment only. Because deep down, you know that your devotion is a reflection of who you really are. When you live from that place, you don't chase anything. You don't chase truth, you don't chase love, you don't chase money, you don't chase flow, you become it. With the result of deep clarity, inner power, and immense fulfillment. So as we almost come to the end, remember this, everything in life is a formula. If you want to lose weight, it is move more plus eat less plus devotion. If you want to make money, it is skill plus market plus value plus devotion. If you want a quality partner, love yourself plus don't act cheap plus devotion. If you want a happy and fulfilled life, radical self-honesty plus self-responsibility. And I mean radical self-honesty about every area in your life plus devotion. And I know some of the things I say can be triggering to some people, but all I can say is I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and this is how I got out. Consistency and devotion are not a problem. We are always consistent at something. Are we consistently stuffing our face full with more than we need? Are we consistently smoking weed? Are we consistently busy with people that don't treat us with respect? Then we are devoted to a life of mediocrity. The challenge does not live within consistency or devotion. It lives within being consistent with the right things, being devoted to the right things. And it's not going to be easy at first, I will tell you that, but it is so worth it. So lower your expectations and higher your standards. Don't accept it to be easy, accept it to be harder. So you can brace yourself with the courage to follow through when life asks a little more of you. So then we have came to the end. As per usual, I want to leave you with 3 questions. Question 1. Where am I still devoted to people, places and things that contradict who I truly am? Where am I still devoted to people, places and things that contradict who I truly am? Question 2. What would my life look like if I was only devoted to what actually reflects my values? What would my life look like if I was only devoted to what actually reflects my values? Question 3. Question 3. If my devotion would shape my destiny, what would I choose to commit to today? If my devotion would shape my destiny, what would I choose to commit to today? Zip it, be still, scan, be honest. So, you can rewind those if you want, need, pause, reflect, write them down. There's nothing more beautiful than a person that is deeply devoted to life, to creation, to the collective, to source, and aligned with their soul and mission. It is undeniable beauty that transcends any form of the physical. Devotion shapes our life. It is the force that builds our life in the dark until one day it becomes either the light that everyone sees or a pile of excuses and shame that we try to hide in the dark. Choose wisely. That's it for now. Ik ga het hierbij laten. If anything moved in you or you had a realization, don't let it pass. Anchor it in the comments. Claim it today. With that being said, honor your inner space. Be devoted to your higher self and carry yourself with grace. Ciao. Steeds gekke man echt. I'm cold. But I want to end with a prayer. I no longer offer my life to what drains me. I devote myself to what is true in my soul, to what keeps my heart awake, to what is able to receive me in the fullest expression of who I am, to what brings my voice into power instead of silence, to what holds me in integrity even when no one is watching. I do not confuse addiction with devotion. I do not mistake familiarity for love. I remember now that where I place my energy, I build my temple and my reality. I will only serve what feeds my soul. I know that I become what I serve, so I only serve the truth. I devote myself to the truth of who I am, to creation, to freedom, to my being and becoming. And so it is. Ashe, Amen, Amin, Swaha. Zip it, be still, scan, be honest.